the most desired place of all powerful beings in the entire Hans universe, a planet that can make people ascend to godhood through the last gate. The last gate is the place where a person gets a test. He must withstand several hundred billion volts in a naked state. Only God-level beings are able to process the test. Ray was the most powerful master who ruled the Hans. He made it to the final gate. If he passed this test, he would become a god and stand at the top of the world. Anat, the deputy master, saw Ray, who was taking the test from the gate. He approached Ray secretly, and he said in his heart, now he is at his most vulnerable. He is planning to attack Ray, and he is looking for the right opportunity to attack Ray. When he saw the opportunity, he stabbed Ray right in the heart. Anuth said if he managed to kill Ray, then the strongest of the Hans would be him. Ray was so badly injured he fell to his knees before Anuth. Ray asked, how did you get here? Anuth replied, you must not have expected me to come. Why didn't you think that I would betray you? Ray was so shocked by what he had experienced now. He said, why did you do this? I trusted you. Are you not satisfied with the position of deputy master? Why did you betray me? Anuth immediately choked Ray and he said, you became strong only because of your core soul, not because of your own abilities. What's wrong with trash like you pretending to be a master until the end? After saying that, Anuth stabbed Ray in the chest with his hand and said, don't worry and just die. Hans will take good care of this body. Then he pulled out Ray's core soul. Anuth felt very happy because he finally became the master of Hans. On the verge of death, Ray said, just wait. You will definitely regret this. I will make sure of it. And lightning from the gate immediately struck Ray's body. He felt very emotional, even though he was almost a god. But why did it end like this? With a tone full of emotion, he said, I will never forgive him. Anuth, I'm really going to destroy you. After saying that, Ray suddenly woke up in the classroom, falling on the floor and having a cut on his cheek. He was so confused by what was happening. He wondered why I was still alive. Then in front of him were three people who looked like they were antagonizing Ray. The man right in front of Ray said, Kang Ta Wook, you weakling. I only hit you once, but you fainted right away. The man immediately held his shirt and continued saying, hey Kang Ta Wook. Why are you nagging? If you want to die, I'll be ready to help you any time. The other students said, is he bullying Kang Ta Wook again? How many times now? Isn't he going to really kill that guy? If he's weak, why is he provoking Chu Hee-sung? The man who was lifting Kang Ta Wook was named Chu Hee-sung. After hearing the ramblings of the other students, Chu Hee-sung immediately punched Kang Ta Wook. But Kang Ta managed to withstand the punch and said, what are you saying? Who are you to show up in front of me? Then Kang Ta immediately broke his hand and slapped him hard until his body bounced to the end of the class. All the students in the class were shocked. Did Kang Ta Wook just throw Chu Hee-sung? Is this for real? He knocked Chu Hee-sung down in one strike. Everyone wondered what had happened, because Kang Ta Wook was famous for how weak he was. Tae Wook saw that behind him was one of his friends who was battered. He tells Tae Wook to just apologize to Chu Hee-sung, otherwise they'll be in big trouble. Tae Wook recalled that the man in front of him was Jae Dong, the person next to him. Tae Wook said, come to think of it, this looks like the high school I attended on Earth. Don't tell me I've gone back to the high school days. Tae Wook recalled the times when he went to school there. At that time, he experienced very gloomy things. His father suddenly died and his family was destroyed. At school, he was always getting bullied and was always mistreated by bullies. Fortunately, he started the training path and later became Master Hans. If he had not been lucky at that time, he would have been a loser for the rest of his life. In this world, all humans are born with inherent powers, but not many are reborn as practitioners. The power inherent in humans is called mana, aura, and internal force. After a long period of development, the Earth training system is divided into two branches. One branch is based on medicinal techniques, and the other branch is based solely on martial arts techniques. The practitioners are referred to as doctors and martial artists, respectively. They are all based on the same type of relationship with the practitioner. The element is very important. Water element users belong to the water class. Fire element users belong to the fire class. Lightning element users belong to the lightning class. They are divided into these three. According to their level of ability, they are divided by level with ranks ranging from 1 star to 12 stars. Since the training path was very difficult and strenuous, the hurdle was very difficult to be promoted to a higher level. Tae Wook was not sure if it was because of the core soul he was born with, but he managed to master the medicinal arts and martial arts, and reach the highest achievements, and in the end he was able to become a master and stand in front of the last gate to become a god. Although his attempt at the last gateway was ultimately thwarted by enough, he would not give up and would fight to become a god once again. Tae-wook tried to feel the aura on his body, but he could not feel his aura, and his core soul was also sealed. He said that right now he must hurry to recover his energy, as well as release the seal on his core soul. Now that he has returned to the past, Tae-wook plans to uncover the secret of his father's death and will take revenge on the person who stabbed his heart. Tae-wook firmly says he will truly become a god and will give Aneth the punishment he deserves. After that, Cho Hae-sung, the person who had made himself miserable in the past, tried to stand back up. Tae-wook held out his hand to Jae-dong as he said to take it easy. There's nothing to worry about. They're perfect for him to warm up. After that, he returned to Cho Hae-sung while clenching his fist. He said, "How long are you going to keep quiet? Don't you want to give me more bullshit?" Cho Hae-sung was terrified to see Tae-wook in front of him and told him to get out of his way. Tae-wook said, "Why are you scared? Let's show what skills a bully has." Cho Hae-sung gives orders to his subordinates to immediately take down Kang Tae-wook. Tae-wook was happy that they all fought him right away, so he didn't have to approach them one by one. But they all looked like they were scared and didn't dare to approach Tae-wook. Cho Hae-sung, who saw his subordinates hesitating, ordered them to immediately take Tae-wook down. After that, the three of them rushed to attack Tae-wook using a chair and said, "Ah, shit." They fought, but Tae-wook easily defeated all three of them, not even worthy of being called a fight. Chu Hee-sung, who saw that his subordinate had lost, apologized to Tae-wook and said if he let himself go then he would do whatever Tae-wook wanted. Tae-wook replied, "All right. Then how about you clean my shoes, just like you often ask?" Chu-hee, without hesitation, immediately obeyed Tae-wook's orders, because she couldn't say no to Tae-wook either. After her shoes were cleaned, Tae-wook gave Chu Hee-sung a warning, saying that he would let all her nonsense go for now, but she wanted to try again, then be prepared. A frightened Chu-hee says, "Of course, it'll never happen again." Tae-wook immediately said, "If you've got it, then get lost," and he kicked Chu-hee backwards. The other students were so scared to see Tae-wook, who became so strong. They were afraid that Tae-wook would take revenge on them, because they used to look down on him too. Then a girl opened the classroom door. The girl's name was Choi Jae-yeon. Choi Jae-yeon saw Tae-wook's injured face, and she immediately got angry. Then she said, "Chu Hee-sung, didn't I tell you that if you bully Tae-wook again, I will report you to the principal? It seems like you want your parents to be summoned." But Choi Jae-yeon was surprised to see Chu-hee's condition, who was having trouble standing up. Chu Hee-sung said that who is being oppressed here. But Tae-wook immediately pretended to be in pain, and Chu Hee-sung, with a frightened face, immediately admitted the action and said, "Yes, it was my fault. I did something bad and I won't repeat it again." Then his subordinates carried Chu Hee-sung's body out of the classroom. Choi Jae-yeon immediately approached Tae-wook and gave him her handkerchief while saying, "Are you okay?" Tae-wook replied that he was fine. Choi Jae-yeon is the most popular girl in the school. Tae-wook said in his heart that she was just as good as before. Choi Jae-yeon again asked, "Are you sure you don't need to go to the nurse's office?" Tae-wook replied, "Take it easy, I'm fine." Then they looked into each other's eyes, but the class bell rang and Choi Jae-yeon told Tae-wook to sit down immediately because the teacher would be here soon. Tae-wook rushed to the seat in his class, but on his desk there was a book that had been torn up. It seemed that the book had previously been torn up by Chu Hee-sung and his gang. Tae-wook felt that something like this was stupid. Then Jae-dong offered to use the book instead, and he asked Tae-wook, "When did you become good at fighting? That's a pretty big change overnight." Tae-wook replied, "Thank you, from now on no one will trouble you, so don't worry." Then the teacher entered the classroom, and she immediately yelled at Tae-wook, "Hey Tae-wook, how dare you fight in class? Come here right now." The teacher was Tae-wook's homeroom teacher. The teacher always sided with bullies and made weak children miserable. Tae-wook obeyed the orders of his homeroom teacher because he had just returned to the past, so he didn't want to get into too much trouble first. Tae-wook was taken out of class by his homeroom teacher and scolded. He was threatened that if he did it again, then he would be expelled from the school. Tae-wook immediately sighed and said in his heart, "I failed the last trial at Hans, and I lost all clues about my father." Tae-wook also remembered his past. When his father died, Tae-wook was taken by his mother to the Seging area and hid himself. But he had the fortunate opportunity to hear about the path of trials, After that, he went through a lot of suffering and difficulties to climb to the top, and finally he found his way to Hans. After Tae-wook rose to master status, one day by chance Tae-wook found a clue about his father's death. He found a glowing ball that had energy like his father. Before he could get all the clues about his father, he had to face the final trial first, but because of enough, everything went awry. Tae-wook was upset that the goal that was right in front of him ended up failing. Tae-wook-mun promises that this time he will definitely find the person behind his father's death. Tae-wook also said that he must become stronger as soon as possible. Tae-wook saw a group of people walking in the schoolyard. The man walking in front of the group was Tae-ryong, a 4-star medical arts trainee. Tae-wook also remembered that the man was from the family. In the past, his father had a good relationship with Jung-ok and arranged a marriage between him and Hyun-jae. But after the death of Tae-wook's father, the family unilaterally canceled the engagement. Tae-ryong approached Tae-wook's family and asked to sign a letter of dissolution of their engagement. Hyun-jae and Tae-wook actually still liked each other, but Tae-wook was abused by his family, and because he couldn't stand it, Tae-wook finally signed the letter. However, the family is not satisfied with that. To save the family's pride, they insult and humiliate Tae-wook in front of everyone. Tae-wook, who was already battered, was insulted by Tae-ryong. He said, "How dare someone like you not know his place and dream of being with the madame of the family?" He immediately ordered his subordinates to beat Tae-wook back. Tae-ryong also said, "This is what you get if you don't know your place and cross the line." Everyone pay close attention. And so on that day, Tae-wook became the laughingstock of all the students. But Tae-wook said that this time, "I'm no longer the oppressed person I used to be." Tae-ryong ordered his subordinates to arrest Tae-wook. He would beat Tae-wook so hard that he would never be able to talk about marriage again. Tae-wook immediately appeared before them and said, "Who wants to beat me up? I thought I'd save you the awkwardness of trying to find me." Tae-ryong said, "Was Kang Tae-wook so scared that he lost control? Hey guys, let's give this guy a lesson." They immediately surrounded Tae-wook. The other students wondered what's going on here. Then another student explained that it was the family of Manbo grew. They saw Tae-wook there and they said, "Isn't that the loser from class number 3, Kang Tae-wook? Did he upset that family?" And the other students replied, "Who knows? Let's watch it." Tae-ryong ordered them to attack Tae-wook. Then they ran straight to Tae-wook. The fight ensued. They tried to attack Tae-wook from 2 directions, but Tae could easily withstand the attacks of the 2 of them. Then Tae-wook said, "It looks like you need a proper education." Then the faces of the 2 of them were hit by Tae-wook, and he threw them all forward. Tae-ryong was shocked to see his friends on the ground. He was very confused. How could he become so strong in a matter of days? Then Tae-wook said next, "Don't you know how to apply pressure?" Tae-ryong replied, "So, you chose to fight the entire family." Tae-wook said, "You're the one who started the nonsense. I did what you wanted with the engagement cancellation, the signature and everything. So, what other problems do you have?" "Well, even though I've known for a long time that your family would definitely change their mind about this engagement." The other students who heard this said, "Engagement? It seems like there are already marriage talks between Kang Tae-wook and that family. Why would a family like want to take a man like Kang Tae-wook as a son-in-law?" Tae-ryong became panicked by Tae-wook's words and he said, "Kang Tae-wook, watch your mouth. How dare you twist your obsession with longing to make it sound like a family engagement? Do you have any proof?" Tae-wook immediately replied, "You even have the proof yourself, but you don't have the guts to admit it, do you?" Tae-ryong became more panicked than ever and said, "Don't give me that nonsense. It seems like you're going to insist on saying this nonsense, but things aren't going your way. Kill that bastard." Tae-wook was ganged up on again, but Tae-wook easily defeated them and knocked them down one by one. Tae-ryong also looked like he was scared. He said, "This is not the Kang Tae-wook I know." Kang Tae-wook said, "And why wouldn't I? You're saying you didn't even check me out before trying to do this. And how do you want to explain this to the head of your family?" Tae-ryong shouted loudly while running towards Kang Tae-wook, "I'll kill you." Then the fight ensued. Tae-wook punched hard, and his punches were like fire. Tae-ryong managed to dodge the punch, but he was very confused. How can a normal person like him master a martial arts hand technique like this? Kang Tae-wook continued to attack him with powerful kicks, but he managed to avoid Tae-wook's kicks. Then Tae-wook quickly punched him in the stomach and kicked him repeatedly. Tae-ryong fell to the ground, and he was in pain. Tae began to wonder, how can a 4-stars guy like me be so helpless against a normal punk? This doesn't make sense. Kang Tae-wook immediately pulled his collar, and Tae-yong said, "Hey, you're not Kang Tae-wook, right? Who are you?" Tae-wook took a paper from Tae-yong's shirt pocket and said, "Take a good look at who I am." Then he threw Tae-yong hard and hit a tree. While coughing up blood, Tae-yong said, "This can't be happening. I'm a 4-stars." Kang Tae-wook held up the paper he picked up and said, "This is the engagement dissolution letter that the He family wrote for me to sign by force. This is the proof that I'm engaged to Yeon Jae." Then she immediately tore up the paper and scattered it on Tae-yong's head and said, "Go and tell the head of your family. I'm the one who refused this marriage to take place." Then, with a feeling of annoyance, Tae-yong said in his heart, "Kang Tae-wook, I will never let you get away with it." The friend who tried to help Tae-yong was immediately thrown by him and said, "Get out of my way, you useless fool." The other students who heard Tae-wook's words were very surprised by that. Kang Tae-wook went home. When he opened the door, he saw his mother in front of him. He said, "I didn't expect to see my mom again." His mom greeted him and said, "Oh, Tae-wook, you're home? Go take a shower and eat." But his mother saw Tae-wook's injured hand, and with a panicked face, she said, "What happened to your hand? Did you fight with someone again? I told you be patient and bear with your friends who give you a hard time. Why do you listen to your mom?" Tae-wook immediately replied, "If you hold back, then they will look down on us even more. I need to refuse once in a while to earn respect." His mother replied, "You are different from other children. I don't have anything to my name. If something happens to you, how can I take care of it? And how can I face your father in heaven?" Tae-wook tried to calm his mother down and said, "I did what you told me to do until now. I was patient and restrained myself. But neither Chodi-san nor the family left me alone. People like that become more and more impatient when they can't harass someone as much as they like." His mother began to blame herself for not being able to protect her own son, so that Tae-wook had to face this kind of sadness. Tae-wook said, "Why is it your fault, Mom? I'm no longer the old Kang Tae-wook. From now on, I'm going to make sure that nothing else can make us sad." His mother asked, "How are you going to do that? Even getting you into school is difficult. I'm not asking for much, I just want you to stay out of trouble and graduate well." Then Tae-wook replied, "Considering I'm my father's son, living a carefree life would be a luxury for me. And father was attacked and killed by someone in the route, right?" His mother was surprised to hear Tae-wook's words. She said, "How did you know? Did anyone tell you?" Tae-wook said, "I'm an adult now and want to know the truth behind father's death. Please tell me all the secrets you're hiding, so I can take revenge." His mother explained that your father begged so earnestly that I can't say it with a conscience. Besides, we can't bear to see you go down the same path, no matter what happens to us. I can't afford to lose you either. So don't think about revenge in graduate school quietly. Tae-wook also thought that whatever he said now would not make his mother change her mind. So it's better for him to calm his mother down and try to improve his skills first. Then Tae-wook said, "Okay." His mother also said that it's not that she doesn't trust Tae-wook, because she doesn't want her son to get into trouble, and she has no one else but him. Tae-wook answered his mother that he understood, and from now on he would work harder so his mother wouldn't worry too much about him. His mother said, "Okay, I believe in you." Her mother took Tae-wook's injured hand and said, "This must be very painful." Tae-wook replied, "It's nothing. Now I want to eat boiled potatoes. It's been a while since you made them. Can you make me some?" His mother was confused and said, "Huh? What do you mean it's been a while? You just ate them yesterday. If you really want to eat it, I'll make more." Tae-wook said, "Since I ate it yesterday, I'll just eat it tomorrow. I also like other side dishes." Tae-wook was served food by his mom, and they ate together. After eating, Tae-wook went to his room and he relaxed on his bed. There he recalled the incident at school. Previously, Tae-wook managed to humiliate Tae-yong, and he would probably take revenge on him. She planned to prepare herself even more thoroughly. He immediately started cultivating in his room. He cultivated until the evening, and afterwards he thought that now he had survived today's dangers, but with his junk body, he wouldn't last much longer. So he did some physical exercise by running while carrying a stone on his back. He started running from the evening until the morning. He did so in order to increase his stamina. After he finished running, he took shelter and leaned against a tree and cultivated again, and finally he had mastered the basics. Tae-wook thought, with this kind of speed, I will be able to start formal training soon. Tae finished his training and returned home and prepared to go to his school. At school, Tae-wook was immediately approached by Jae-dong, and he begged Tae-wook to teach him so that he could become great like Tae-wook. Tae-wook also refused to teach Jae-dong because he did not have such potential. Jae-dong said, "How can you know without trying to teach me? Me getting beaten up doesn't mean anything to you. Are you just going to stand by and cheer me on?" Tae-wook finally gave Jae-dong an assignment after dinner to carry 10 kilograms dumbbells to the mountain behind, and would give him focused training. Jae-dong said, "Got it. See you soon." As the day turned into night, they'd practiced in the mountain area, but Jae-dong gave up with Tae-wook's training. Tae-wook said, "We haven't even started yet. Are you giving up already?" Jae-dong answered Tae-wook in a breathless tone, "Yes, I'm wrong to go alone." Tae-wook said, "If you want to become stronger, you should be able to handle at least this much. There is no result without effort. Whether you continue to live as before or whether you will try to survive on this path, you decide for yourself." Jae-dong felt motivated by Tae-wook's words, and he finally started chasing Tae-wook again. They started running again, and finally reached the top of the mountain. Tae-wook said, "I had special training for a week. I wonder how strong I am now." After that, he looked for the tree that he always used to rest there. And when he found the tree, Tae-wook thanked him for giving him the space to lean and rest all this time. He wouldn't take advantage of him anymore. Tae-wook also saw a big rock and thought it would be a good place to test his strength. He started to prepare his punch and hit the rock hard. The rock had a big hole in it, and Tae-wook said, "It feels like my training speed has gotten faster in this life. With this growth rate, I can start my official training." Jae-dong was shocked to see that the punch could punch a hole in a rock. Tae-wook went back to cultivating, and Jae-dong, who was still surprised, wondered, is it really Kang Tae-wook? Tae-wook thought that practicing physical fitness was the best method to improve his stats, and if he devoted his attention to medical arts training, then he would become his old self. Tae-wook's physical state had just crossed the 1-star level threshold, but his abilities were at the 2-star level. Tae-wook thought the Ho family wouldn't send an elite member to settle a school drill fight, right? The curious Jae-dong asked Tae-wook, "Your body just emitted light. Do you know the crazy secret of the mountain?" Tae-wook immediately left and said, "What superstition are you talking about? Let's go back down." They immediately went down the mountain and returned home. The next day, Tae-wook went back to eat with his mom, and she said, "He's going to work today, so please finish your homework. I'll do the dishes later, so just leave it." Tae-wook also asked his mother to stop working as a maid and said, "I will work twice as hard from now on so you don't have to do the work anymore." His mother replied, "You don't need to think about money, you need to focus on studying." Tae-wook replied, "Okay, Mom." And his mother immediately went to work. After his mother left, Tae-wook went straight to the room and looked for the items that were hidden there. Then Tae-wook tried to look around the drawer, and he said, "I found it." Tae-wook managed to find a box in the drawer. Then he opened the box. Inside was a paper and a martial arts book. Tae-wook said with a happy face, "Good, this is enough. With this secret art guide, I can catch the real culprit who killed my father." After that, a few hours later, his mother returned home, and she saw that the dishes they had eaten had been washed. Then she went to Tae-wook's room and saw him studying. She smiled and said to herself, "Honey, it looks like our Tae-wook has really grown up. He's growing up the way you want him to." Then his mother left him. Tae-wook had an anxious look on his face. He thought that now there might be people who would approach him, so he had to be a little careful from now on, and he had to really improve his skills first. After that, Tae-wook went to Gyeongpoon Gym, and he entered the place. There he said, "Someone is here." In that place, there was a man who was wearing martial arts clothes. The man was surprised to see Tae-wook, who came to that place, and he said, "Wait, you? Aren't you Tae-wook? How did you know about this place?" Tae-wook approached the man, and he said, "Mister, you remember me, right?" Then the man, with a touching feeling, said, "Of course I remember you. You've reached a growth spurt." Tae-wook replied, "Yes. Since you were close to my father, you used to buy me snacks when I was little, and the like." The man said, "Yes, that's right, and it happened to your father. And is your mom okay?" Tae-wook replied, "She's fine. Sir, I actually came today to ask something about my father." With a suspicious face, the man replied, "Your father? I don't know much. But first, I'll get us some drinks, so sit down." Tae-wook thought to himself, "It seems like there are things that he knows, but he is reluctant to tell me. It seems like she's been through some bad things too." Then, not long after, a group of men wearing martial arts clothes came shouting, "Where is Instructor Bang? Come out." They told Tae-wook to call Instructor Bang. "Hey, call Instructor Bang." Taewook was surprised because, when did Master change his last name? I remember his last name was Gu. Taewook replied, who are you that you think you can get away with calling someone an ass? The man who ordered Taewook earlier said, oh, look at this guy. He has a good attitude. They asked, is there another kid here besides you? Then the man who was going to get the drinks came, and it was Instructor Bang. With a frightened tone, he said, Geese Hyun Nim. Why did you come to visit? The number of students has been decreasing lately, so the situation has become unfavorable. Can you wait a few more days? Then the man said, well, if you don't have any money, I guess you can't help it. Then he ordered all his friends to destroy the place. Instructor Bang begged the man not to do this, and he promised to give him money if they gave him another week. Then the man said, you should have gotten the money before you started asking for more time. And the man kicked Instructor Bang's leg, causing him to fall down in pain. Taewook approached Instructor Bang and said, Master, are you okay? Instructor Bang replied, Taewook, no, I mean, who are you to keep interfering in other people's business? Stop being a bully and leave me alone. Taewook approached the man and said, what are you doing in someone else's business? The man said with a smug face, he told you to leave, you little shit. Then Taewook quickly choked the man and pushed him against the wall. The man also looked in pain. With a sweaty face, the man tried to release the strangulation. Instructor Bang was surprised by Taewook. He said, that's not the speed that any normal human can achieve. Don't tell me, Taewook. As Taewook strangled the man, he said, for your own good, stay still. If you struggle, you might break your neck. The man looked like he was dying and he begged Taewook to let him go right now. Taewook said, and if I refuse, you're the one who started this nonsense. Instructor Bang approached Taewook and asked Taewook to let go of the man and let them go, because if they hurt the young Hwanjin members, Instructor Bang was worried that they wouldn't be able to handle the repercussions. Taewook smiled and said, repercussions? Even if they bring a truckload of bastards like this, I won't be afraid. The man ordered his friends to attack Taewook, and they rushed towards Taewook. Instructor Bang looked panicked, but Taewook tried to calm Instructor Bang down. Then Taewook threw the man to one of his friends, and the other two friends immediately attacked Taewook. But their attacks were easily thwarted by Taewook, and they were all blown away. Taewook said, calling you a martial artist makes the title embarrassing. Is your skill only this great? Taewook then proceeded to beat up those who remained, and he easily defeated the group. The man who was choked by Taewook earlier said, who are you? Do you think you're going to get a name after doing this? Our chairman will hunt you down. Hearing such threats, Taewook replied, since I'm the one who hit you all, don't bother venting your anger at Kyungpoon Gym. Just drop by my school, Gwanggwi High. If you just mention Chu Hee-sung, everyone will know who you're talking about. The man replied, Chu Hee-sung. I will remember that name. I will make you regret this. Just wait. Holding up his middle finger, Taewook said, what a hot atmosphere. I'll be waiting for you at school, so you better come. Then the man and his group left the place immediately. Instructor Bang asked Taewook why he had to do this instead of doing what he asked before. Taewook replied, the Hicks who haven't even built their own territory can't accept you. So why are you holding back and holding it in? Instructor Bang was surprised to hear Taewook's words and said, how do you know that? Do you know about training? Don't tell me you heard it from your father. Taewook said that his father never said a word. He came here to ask Instructor Bang about how his father died. Because Instructor Bang and his father seemed to be very close, even like blood brothers. Instructor Bang said not to ask him about his father, because he doesn't know anything either, and coming here just to ask about it is pointless. Taewook asked Instructor Bang, why did you change your family name and become an instructor at a martial arts gym? It must have something to do with my father's death. Did you choose this because you knew you wouldn't be able to face the power that took my father away? Then Instructor Bang, while turning his back to Taewook and putting on a flat face, said, I don't understand what you're talking about. It's time for the students to arrive. Go. Taewook looked a little disappointed with such an answer, so he said, if this is something you don't want to discuss, let's say this conversation never happened. Instructor Bang replied, how about you continue to live like now and pretend you don't know anything? Taewook said, my heart turns to anger when I think about how my father was killed by someone. Master, you may not want to get too involved, but I will never be able to let go of this feeling. Taewook then gave a respectful bow to Instructor Bang and said, take care of yourself. Instructor Bang felt sorry for Taewook and tried to say something, but he turned his back and Taewook left. Instructor Bang said to himself, Taewook, I know it's disappointing, but what can I do? If your father was still alive, he wouldn't want you to get caught up in this fight. Then Instructor Bang went to a room and took a box from his drawer while saying, although I want to live a quiet life, it seems that the people around me will not leave me. Then the scene returned to Ta-wook. While walking, Ta-wook thought, it seems like the conspiracy surrounding my father's death is bigger than previously thought. At my current level, even if I find the culprit, it will be difficult to take revenge. Then Ta-wook suddenly stopped walking and said, ah, right. There's old man Kwok, right? He recalled the events in his past. Ta-wook used to get bullied by his friends. He was dipped in a pool of water, and his friends seemed very happy to treat Ta-wook like that. But all of a sudden an old man came and said, you brats, you'll kill someone if you keep this up. The old man tried to save Ta-wook, but the bullies did not listen to the old man's words and said not to interfere in other people's business. The old man said, it seems like this schoolboy can't speak properly. You should behave better while this old man still has his manners. Long story short, the bullies were beaten up by the old man and ended up hanging upside down from a tree. The old man approached Ta-wook and said, listen, student, are you okay? I'll teach you martial arts, so from now on don't just sit back and take it. The old man felt sorry for Ta-wook, so he taught him a few moves, and he led him down the path of martial arts. Later on, the old man could not resist Supreme's power and attempted to make a breakthrough. But he failed to make the breakthrough and ended up losing his life. That's because he only practiced in medicine. Now that Ta-wook had returned to the past, he planned to find the old man again. Ta-wook went to the place where he met the old man in the past. After walking around the area, Ta-wook couldn't find an old man around there, so he said, I think it's around here, but why don't I see him? Then suddenly an old man appeared from behind Ta-wook, saying, wait a minute, it looks like you're circling around. Are you maybe looking for me? Ta-wook immediately turned around. With a happy face, Ta-wook said, old man, you're Master Kwok, right? Ta-wook was very happy to be reunited with the old man. Master Kwok was confused and said, you know me? Smiling, Ta-wook said in his heart, of course I know you. You are the best master I've had in my entire life. Other than my family, you are the one I value the most. Ta-wook replied to the old man, yes, I was asked to come here by someone else to find you, and I was told to help you. The old man asked, and who was the person who asked you? Ta-wook replied, an old friend. I was told to help you with the upcoming challenge for the 12 stars domain. The old man said, do I have a friend like that? But can you help me with your abilities? Smiling, Ta-wook said in his heart, of course. Even in the past when trying to make this breakthrough, I was by your side. The old man continued to say, and you didn't try to do some tricks here. Ta-wook replied, that's impossible. If I have ulterior motives, I'd rather die by lightning. Besides, it only takes a little effort for you to kill a snot-nosed kid like me, doesn't it? The old man said, that's right. It won't be easy to try to attack me quickly. Besides, what's your name? When the old man was talking, suddenly he felt pain and made him fall to the ground. Ta-wook immediately helped the old man and said, let me borrow and use your needle. Then Ta-wook took the needle equipment from the old man's pocket. Master Kwok shouted, what are you up to? Master Kwok also looked so painful. With a face full of sweat, he said, what are you planning to do? Ta-wook explained that, as you know, those who are trained in medicine have to endure the test in medicine. I never thought of taking you out, old man, so please trust me. Master Kwok said, I am just a wandering practitioner who has no friends, so your presence at the right time to try to help me does look suspicious. Ta-wook explained that if you continue like this, your energy will twist and explode, and if I were to tell you who I really am, you would find it very difficult to believe it. With a serious face, Ta-wook said, I'll start now. Master Kwok asked, you're not ashamed, are you? But Ta-wook did not answer that question and went straight to acupuncture treatment. Master Kwok felt something familiar about Ta-wook's method. He immediately asked Ta-wook, who taught you the art of medicine? Ta-wook replied, if I said I learned it from you, would you believe me? Master Kwok said, that seems impossible. Ta-wook said, however, since I do not intend to harm you, please start gathering your energy. I will protect you from external problems. Master Kwok thought that Ta-wook's skills were quite good, and his acupuncture style looked similar to his own. He said, this time I will take the risk on you. Ta-wook, with a smiling face, replied, let's start. The lightning will gather soon. Master Kwok immediately started cultivating to gather his energy. Ta-wook looked up at the sky and said to himself, if I protect you, nothing will happen. Please do your best. After that, the sky darkened and lightning appeared, and it struck Master Quack. But because Tawook protected Master Quack with his acupuncture method, it caused Tawook to get a deep wound. Tawook thought that it seemed like this ordeal was harder than my last life. Tawook was relieved that he made it on time. After a while, the exam was finally over. Tawook asked Master Quack, "How do you feel?" Master Quack replied, "Thank you. I passed this exam safely. If I keep this up, I can break through the barrier in 2 days." Tawook smiled and said, "That's very lucky. You were able to pass this test unscathed, but if you move to another dimension, make sure you also practice martial arts in parallel, so that in the future you can overcome trials more easily." Master Quack said, "You told me to practice medicine and martial arts." Tawook replied, "Yes, I did." Master Quack said, "Do you really know the full extent of how difficult it is to do that?" Tawook explained that he knew about it and said, "If you are lazy to do the basics of martial arts, then in the future you cannot pass the next trials. Please believe me." While grabbing Tawook's wrist, Master Quack also said that as someone who was only in the one-star realm, Tawook was spouting too much nonsense, but since Master Quack did not feel any malicious intent from Tawook, Master Quack would trust him. After that, Master Quack took out the energy in his hand and gave it to Tawook. He said that since Tawook had helped him before, he wanted to return the favor to Tawook. Tawook was happy, and he said, "I accept the old man's help once again." After that, Tawook thanked him. Master Quack asked Tawook to try circulating his energy. Tawook tried to gather his energy, and he managed to increase his realm by 2 levels. Tawook thought that after he started double training in both arts, his breakthrough speed became quite frequent. After that, Tawook immediately made a respectful position to Master Quack, and he asked for permission to call him Master and asked him to accept him as a student. Master Quack said, "I'll be crossing the line soon, so I guess I won't be able to teach you anything." Tawook said that he had learned a lot from him by now. Master Quack said, "I don't understand what you're saying at all. Since I have to take my leave now, let's say goodbye here. If it is fate, we will definitely meet again." Tawook said, "I'm sure of it. I will wait for you." Night fell. Tawook felt that today he got more benefits than he expected. He planned to go home quickly because his mother must be waiting. But suddenly Tawook heard a scream. Tawook felt that the scream was similar to the voice of Choi Jae-dian. It was true, it was Choi Jae-dian. She looked injured and her clothes were torn. There she was being ganged up by 2 men. Choi Jae-dian yelled for them not to approach her. But they were happy to hear Choi Jae-dian crying and screaming like that. Choi Jae-dian said, "Do you want money? I'll give you as much as you want." The man replied, "You think we're doing this for money?" Then Tawook appeared from the bushes. Tawook, who saw the incident, looked a little angry and said, "What are you doing?" The 2 men panicked and said, "Who are you? Stop interfering and get lost." But without much talk, Tawook kicked the man until his teeth fell out. Then Tawook quickly approached the other man and strangled him. After that, Tawook immediately slammed the man, and he continued to beat them all to a pulp. They both asked to be given mercy. Then Tawook took the man's shirt, and the man said, "Ha, why my shirt?" After taking the 2 shirts from them, Tawook tied their feet and hands using their own shirts. Tawook immediately called the police and told them that he had labeled the perverts and asked them to take them away from here. After reporting that, Tawook went straight to Choi Jae-dian and asked, "Can you stand up? Are you okay?" Choi Jae-dian also thanked Tawook for helping her. But because Choi Jae-dian's clothes were torn earlier, it made Tawook blush a little, and he offered his jacket to cover her. Choi Jae-dian took his jacket and said thank you. She also said that she might have sprained her ankle, so she asked Tawook to help her up. With a blushing face, Tawook said, "I understand, so be strong enough to stand up." But when they tried to walk, Choi Jae-dian collapsed again and said, "I don't think I can walk." Tawook noticed the wound on her ankle and said, "It's going to hurt. Just endure it." Then Tawook tried to fix her ankle. After that, Tawook said to Choi Jae-dian, "Try to walk now." She obeyed Tawook, and after a few steps, Choi Jae-dian did not feel any pain in her ankle. She smiled and said that, "You seem to have miraculous hands, kind Tawook." Tawook was happy to see her walking again and asked her to walk away from here. But with a shy face, Choi Jae-dian asked Tawook to accompany her to the city, because she was afraid to walk there alone. Tawook said, "Sure, let's go." On the way to the town, they passed by a food bazaar. Choi Jae-dian offered Tawook to eat first and said that the satay here was delicious. Tawook thought, "Isn't her family worried?" He almost had a bad experience. Tae-wook declined the invitation and said, I guess next time. But Choi Jae-yeon said not to worry too much. She just wanted to return the favor, and she also wanted to ask him for something. Tae-wook said, oh, okay then. After that, they sat down at one of the restaurants there. Choi Jae-yeon opened the conversation by asking about Chu Hee-sung. She said, you know that time Chu Hee-sung bullied you? Tae-wook said yes. Choi Jae-yeon said, it was horrible watching them try to top the bully's food chain. But with your skills, Chu Hee-sung shouldn't be able to mess with you anymore. Tae-wook said, of course. But didn't you say you had another request to make to me? Choi Jae-yeon replied about today. Can you keep it a secret from others? Tae-wook said, don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Choi Jae-yeon was happy to hear that and said, thank you. Let's eat quickly. The lamb satay doesn't taste good when it's cold. They both ate the satay right away. While they were eating, Choi Jae-yeon said, hey, I have a question. Did the family really arrange an engagement with you? Feeling bad about such a question, Choi Jae-yeon said, I'm sorry. You don't have to tell me if you know one answer. With a slightly downcast face, Tae-wook said, that's not it. It's true that we promised to get married. Tae-wook also recalled his time with Yeon-jae. Back when they were children, they had a dream to live until old age together, get married, and have a dog. They looked happy and said, that sounds good. When we grow up, we'll get married and do a lot of things, right? But Yeon-jae looked sad because she was worried that she wouldn't be able to grow up and get married, since her body was so weak. Tae-wook wiped her tears and said, don't worry, I'll treat you somehow. You trust me, right? Yeon-jae smiled back and said, of course, I trust you. They finally made a promise. If Yeon-jae can recover and when it comes true, they will get married. Back to the question that Choi Jae-yeon asked earlier. Tae-wook explained that Yeon-jae is not the type to betray me, but she doesn't have the strength to go against her family. It seems like our fates are intertwined so far. Choi Jae-yeon also said, it seems like you have good memories, at least to build a lot of memories. Tae-wook replied, that's right. On the other hand, at the family residence, Yeon-jae was seen there talking to her father. She said, Father, how could you suddenly cancel my engagement? That's an insult to Tae-wook Abba. Her father replied, are you confronting your father because of an insignificant person? This decision was made for your sake. Yeon-jae said, that's nonsense. These are all tactics to improve my marriage without my input to build family influence. Her father slapped her and said, shut your mouth. With a sad face, Yeon-jae said, I have no intention of canceling my engagement with Tae-wook Abba. I will explain this to him. Then she left the room and her father shouted, hey, where do you think you're going? His father was visibly upset, and he hit his desk while calling out the name Kang Tae-wook. The scene moves to the athletic field of Gwanghwae High School. There Tae-wook is seen facing Chu Hee-sung and his crew. Choi Jae-yeon, who saw that, said again, why is she still trying to start something with Tae-wook? Tae-wook, who saw them trying to get to him again, said, what is this? The previous punch wasn't enough for you. Chu Hee-sung said, solving this problem with just one incident is not enough. Let's do it with another approach. Tae-wook asked, what kind of approach? Chu Hee-sung explained that if you beat me in even one event on the athletics field, I promise to leave you alone from now on. Tae-wook did not agree with that, and he said, that's not enough. If I win, then every time you see me, you have to kneel down and bow to me. Agreed? Then with a face full of anger, Chu Hee-sung said, then, if you do, you have to call me Hyung Nim in front of all the students in the school. Tae-wook agreed with that and said, good. Then be prepared to get your knees dirty. Then Chu Hee-sung and his group left. Choi Jae-yeon, who was worried about Kang Tae-wook, tried to remind Tae-wook and said he specializes in physical activity. Are you going to be okay? Then Jae-dong came over to Kang Tae-wook and said, just wait and see. Tae-wook is not the type of person who likes to lose, right? Even after hearing that, Choi Jae-yeon still couldn't escape from worrying. She said, well, that's good to hear, but… Then inside the school building, there was a student who was watching Kang Tae-wook. That student was Lee Yeon-jae, the #1 bully at Gwanghwae High School. While looking at the field, he said, that's Kang Tae-wook. His friend replied, that's right. They say he recently became good at fighting. Lee Yeon-jae said, is that so? Now, I wonder how good his skills are. The match between Kang Tae-wook and Chu Hee-sung started. They were getting ready for a running match. There Chu Hee-sung tried to warn Tae-wook and said, you know, I'm very good at running 3,000 meters, right? If you want to go, now is the time. Tae-wook, who heard that, replied to Chu Hee-sung's warning, "Don't be arrogant. I'll even let you run one lap." With a face full of arrogance, Chu Hee-sung said, "You won't regret it later, right?" Then the referee told them to get ready and the match started. The other students ran out as soon as the match started, but Ta-wook and Chu Hee-sung stayed put. Tae-wook told Chu Hee-sung to run first. Chu Hee-sung emotionally said, "You're arrogant to the end." Then he immediately hurried to run away from Ta-wook. After a while, Chu Hee-sung managed to get one lap in, and when he passed Kang Ta-wook, he said, "Get ready to call myself Hung Nai." Before he could finish his speech, Ta-wook quickly took off running. Chu Hee-sung, who saw that, made himself surprised, and he said he's fast. Jae-dong, who was running there, also spoke to Chu Hee-sung. "You still don't know how good Tae-wook is. You're done now?" Chu Hee-sung, who was overtaken by Jae-dong, was surprised by his speed and said, "When did that fatso become so fast?" Tae-wook, who had finished his run, casually counted down Chu Hee-sung's time to the finish. When he reached the finish, Chu Hee-sung, with his face full of sweat and breathless, said, "Are you sure you didn't cheat?" Then the teacher who supervised the running test said that, "We have video recordings from start to finish, so you don't have to worry about cheating here. This is the first time I've seen a student run so fast. In all my years of teaching, I haven't seen anything like that." Chu Hee-sung, who still couldn't believe the result, said, "Impossible." After winning the match, Ta-wook approached Chu Hee-sung and said, "So, you went to it again." Chu Hee-sung, who was angry with Kang Tae-wook, said, "You bastard, are you playing me on purpose?" Tae-wook said that that's not what matters now. A promise is a promise. Every time you see me, you have to kneel down and bow. Understand? But Chu Hee-sung didn't want to fulfill the previous agreement, and he said, "I don't care." Tae-wook also said, "It seems like you talk a lot but can't fulfill your own words. You need to get hit more so that you don't try to mess with me again." Then, with a sense of vengeance, Chu Hee-sung said in his heart, "A stroll. Just wait, Kang Ta-wook." Then the next day in the school hallway, Jae-dong greeted Ta-wook, "Good morning, Ta-wook." Then he approached Ta-wook and said, "Looks like Chu Hee-sung is looking for payback after yesterday's humiliation. There are some gang members outside looking for you. Maybe you should try to avoid them for now." Ta-wook replied, "Why should I avoid? I don't care about such a pathetic man." Jae-dong warned Ta-wook again, saying, "Hey, but these gang members are a little different. It won't go easy on you. How are you going to handle it?" Smiling, Ta-wook said, "That's easy." Then Jae-dong, who was still worried about Ta-wook, said, "Then let's go together when we leave school. Who knows? Maybe a punching bag assistant like this can protect you from cheap attacks." Ta-wook said, "Okay. Even if you're only useful like that, I'm already grateful." Jae-dong said, "There's no need to say thank you between friends." Tae-wook, who heard such words, immediately made a slightly gloomy face and immediately remembered the incident before he died and said, "Friends, I wonder who I can trust now." Jae-dong, who saw Ta-wook's face like that, said, "Hey, what makes you have to think hard like that?" Then Tae-wook came back to his senses and said, "Nothing. Want to go to the store." Then they went together to buy an ice cream. On the way back, Kang Ta-wook and Jae-dong were stopped by a group of thugs who looked like the gang members they talked about earlier, and they said, "Are you Kang Ta-wook?"